It seems like AI is popping up everywhere these days. It's doing
Yeah.
some pretty amazing things, you
Oh,
know.
yeah, for sure.
But there's this thing, it feels like all these powerful AIs are kind of off doing their own thing. Like they're not really talking to each other.
Yeah, you're right. It's like we have all these really smart AI agents, and they're each becoming experts in their own little area. Like you might have one AI that's great at figuring out your marketing campaigns, right?
Right.
And then another one that's super efficient at handling all those customer support questions you get.
Right. Right.
They're both super valuable, but they don't actually understand what the other one is doing, you know?
Yeah.
It's like they're in their own separate worlds.
Exactly. And that's why we wanted to do this deep dive today into something called the Model Context Protocol, or MCP for short. It might sound a bit technical at first, but the more we've looked into it, the more we think it could totally change how AI works in the future. So for everyone listening, our goal today is to break down MCP for you. We want you to get why this is becoming such a big deal, how it could change the way we build AI agents, and especially what it could mean for startups. Think of this as a crash course on a technology that could really shake things up.
Okay, so let's get right to it. What exactly is this model context protocol?
Well, it's not a piece of software you can just download and install. It's more like a set of rules and standards that everyone agrees on.
Okay, so it's like a common language then.
Exactly, like a shared language that different computer systems can use to communicate with each other and actually understand what's going on.
Got it. So it's the agreement that makes it all work, not the tools themselves. Right. And the big idea behind these standards is that it lets AI agents and systems work together in a shared space where they all understand the context. Like the
Hmm.
background information and the situation they're dealing with.
So it's like they're all on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
all about creating a shared understanding. And MCP makes sure that all the AI agents represent, interpret, and share information about the context in the same way.
And that information could be anything, right? Like what's happening right now, what the overall goals are, even relevant stuff from the past.
Exactly. All that gets factored in. One of the articles we read had this really good analogy. It said that with MCP, an AI agent can basically say, hey, everyone, here's what I know right now. Here's what I'm trying to do. And here's what I need from you guys. And every other agent that's using MCP will understand what it means, no matter how they're built on the inside. I thought that was a pretty cool way to put it.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's like they can finally work together as a team. So, to understand why this is so important, let's think about what's happening right now with AI. Like you said earlier, we're seeing all these AI powered applications popping up everywhere, right?
Yeah,
Like you have AI helping with writing content, analyzing financial data, you name it.
pretty much.
But the problem is that each of these AIs is usually working with a very limited view of the bigger picture. Like an AI that's looking at website traffic probably has no idea what the sales team's AI is doing, right?
Right.
They're stuck in their own little data bubbles. They have their own databases, their logs of activity, their own internal stuff. So even if they could potentially help each other, there's no way for them to know what the other one needs or what information they have.
It's like having different departments in a company that use completely different software. They can't share files or anything. It's a mess.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's called the context problem in AI. Usually the context that AI models use is kind of hardwired in. It's static, or it takes these super complicated systems to manage and deliver the context. And those systems can be really fragile, you know?
They break all the time.
But MCP offers a much better way. It provides a dynamic, structured way to share context in real time. And importantly, it's queryable. That means an AI agent can actively search for the information it needs from other agents or systems right when it needs it. So it's not just getting fed a limited amount of data. It can actually ask, hey, has anyone else seen this kind of user behavior before? And get a useful answer from another AI that has that data.
Right. That's the key. And think about big companies that use a bunch of different AI tools. They might have AI from different cloud providers. They might build some themselves, and they might even use open source AI components. Getting all those different systems to work together without a common language like MCP is a nightmare.
Oh, I can imagine. It's like trying to build a house with a team of builders who all speak different languages and use different blueprints. Nothing would ever get done.
Exactly. So MCP acts like a universal translator. It lets all these different AI systems speak the same language so they can actually work together and create a much smarter and more integrated system.
That makes a lot of sense. And it's not just about sharing information in the moment, right? MCP also has this idea of agent memory. So it's not just about what's happening now, but also about using past experiences and shared knowledge to make better decisions in the future.
Absolutely. So an AI can learn and get better over time by accessing shared memories or even its own long-term memory, all organized according to MCP.
That's really important for creating AI that can actually learn and adapt based on a much broader understanding of what's happened before, not just reacting to what's happening right now.
Exactly. Imagine a customer service AI that can not only see the details of a customer's current issue, but also pull up a summary of all their past interactions with the company. That would make the service so much more personal and efficient.
Okay, so it sounds like MCP is really important for setting up this communication and shared understanding between AIs. But what are the actual parts that make up MCP? Like, what are the building blocks?
Well, the research we did talked about five main components. The first one is the context schema. That's a standardized way to describe all the relevant information. Things like what the user wants to do, the environment the AI is working in, references to knowledge bases, the status of the system, all that stuff. And they specifically mentioned using formats like JSON LD or graphs for this.
Why those formats specifically?
Well, they're really good at representing complex data. They can capture all those intricate relationships that are part of the context, which simpler formats might miss.
So it's like a blueprint for organizing all the important details, and any AI using MCP can understand it.
Exactly. Then you have the second component, which is the context best. You can think of it as the central nervous system for all this contextual information.
Okay.
It's the thing that actually transmits the messages between the different AI agents. They might use something like Kafka for this, which is really good at handling lots of data, or they could use regular HTTP APIs too. The point is, it connects all those separate AIs that we talked about before.
So it's like the infrastructure that lets the agents send their own updates and receive information from others. Makes sense. What about memory? How do agents remember things in the system?
That's the memory layer, the third component. It defines how agents can store and retrieve both short-term and long-term memories. This includes how to summarize information, how to index it for quick access, and even how to manage updates to that memory over time. So it's not just remembering stuff, but also being able to find it and use it when needed.
Gotcha. That's crucial for AIs that are supposed to learn and improve over time. What's next?
The fourth one is the intent framework. This is about how the goals or the desired outcomes of an AI agent are described so that other agents can understand and potentially work together to achieve those goals. It's all about promoting cooperation and making sure that different agents are working towards the same objectives.
So it's like making sure everyone is on the same page about what they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, exactly. Clear communication is key.
Yeah.
And finally, you have the policy and access control layer. That's all about security and privacy. It defines which agents are allowed to access which parts of the context. That way, sensitive information is protected and agents only see the data that's relevant to their specific tasks.
Okay, so we've got the schema for structuring information, the bus for sending it, the memory layer for storing it, the intent framework for understanding goals, and the policy layer for security. It's all starting to come together now. So how does this actually work when you're building AI agents with MCP?
Well, there are five key steps they outlined. The first step is to define the agent's role and capabilities. It's like creating a profile for each agent, but using the language of MCP so everyone else can understand. I have to clearly describe what the agent is good at, what tasks it can do, and what kind of data it needs.
So you're establishing a clear identity and skill set for each agent. What's next?
Then you have to integrate the agent with the context bus. So you set it up to publish its own contextual messages and subscribe to the ones it needs. For example, a customer service agent might subscribe to messages about urgent complaints and also publish a log of its responses and actions.
Okay, so it's actively participating in the information flow. What about using past information?
That's the third step,
Oh.
leveraging shared memory. Instead of each agent having to learn everything from scratch or store the same basic information, they can access a central memory pool. This could include summaries of past interactions, common knowledge about a specific domain, things like that.
Right, so it avoids unnecessary repetition. No need to reinvent the wheel every time.
Exactly. And the fourth step is to execute tasks based on shared intent. Since the agents understand each other's goals through the intent framework, they can coordinate their actions much better. For example, a recommendation agent might only activate after another agent has figured out that a user's interested in buying something and has been browsing certain products.
That's smart. It's like a more efficient division of labor, driven by a common understanding of what needs to be done.
Right. And the last step is to participate in multi-agent workflows. This is where MCP gets really powerful. You can create complex processes where multiple agents work together in a sequence. Like you could have an AI that drafts marketing content, then another one checks the grammar, and another one makes sure it meets all the legal requirements.
That's amazing. So it really allows for much more sophisticated AI systems that can handle complex tasks. Now, a lot of our listeners are probably thinking, okay, this is all very interesting, but what's in it for me? Especially if I'm running a startup. So, what are the real benefits of using MCP for startups?
That's a great question. And this is where it gets really exciting for startups. One of the biggest advantages is faster time to market. By using MCP, startups can integrate existing AI agents into their products instead of having to build everything from scratch. It's like a plug-and-play approach to building AI.
So instead of spending months or even years developing a specific AI capability themselves, they could just grab a pre-built NCP compliant agent and launch their product much faster.
Exactly. And this leads to another advantage: composable AI architectures. Startups can build complex AI systems by combining simpler, MCP-compliant components. Think of a language learning app, for example. They could have different agents for pronunciation, grammar, and even motivational feedback, all working together seamlessly because they all speak the language of MCP.
So it's like building with Legos. You have these standardized blocks that you can put together in different ways. What other benefits are there for startups?
Ecosystem participation is a big one. If a startup builds an AI agent that uses MCP, it can potentially work with other systems and agents in a larger marketplace. This opens up a lot of possibilities for partnerships and reaching new customers. Imagine a startup that builds a special AI for analyzing satellite images. If it's MCP compliant, it could work with weather forecasting AI from another company, or AI that analyzes crops, creating a more comprehensive service.
So their AI isn't just stuck on their own platform. It can connect with a whole network of compatible systems, making it much more valuable.
Exactly. And for the users, MCP can mean a much better experience. Since the agents can share context, they can provide more intelligent and personalized assistance.
Right, it just makes the whole experience smoother and more helpful. And for startups, which often have limited resources, what are the operational benefits?
Well, one key benefit is reduced redundancy. MCP lets agents share resources and knowledge so they don't have to store the same information or relearn the same things over and over again. This saves money and makes the whole system more efficient.
Efficiency is super important for startups. What about scaling? As a startup grows, how easy is it to scale their AI with MCP?
That's another advantage. MCP makes scaling much easier. As the startup needs to do more things with its AI, it can just add new MCP-compliant agents without having to redesign the whole system.
Yeah.
It's a very flexible and adaptable architecture.
So it's like building a house with room for expansion. You can always add more rooms later without having to tear down the whole thing.
Exactly. It's future-proof. So with MCP, startups can build sophisticated collaborative AI systems faster, cheaper, and with more flexibility. And they can tap into larger ecosystems and create better experiences for their users.
Wow, this has been a really fascinating look at the Model Context Protocol. It's clear that this is more than just a theory. It has some serious potential to change the way we build and use AI. Especially for startups, this could be a game changer.
Absolutely. And it really makes you think about what kinds of amazing things we could do if all these different AI agents could understand and work with each other. What problems could we solve? What new possibilities could we create? It's pretty exciting to think about.
It is. And for everyone listening, if you want to stay up to date on all the latest news in AI, be sure to join us this Monday for our weekly AI news episode. We'll be covering all the biggest trends and developments. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Model Context Protocol. We'll see you next time.